Hello crochet friends, welcome back. We're working on our wreath for St. Patrick's Day, and I had left you last time with a lot of bulk. I know. I ended up doing 61 rows in total for the wreath form that I have. This is what it looks like. I'm so excited. I have a lot of tails, but I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with those. We're going to get this wrapped up today, but I think my colors came out pretty. I like how it's a pattern but yet not a pattern. Like some are, one row, some are three. I like that. I think it's gonna look really pretty on the wreath form itself. So right now, this is my row 61, and we are going to attach row 61 to the very beginning, which was our foundation chain. Remember that? So we want to get these together. So it's short side to short side. So let's see here. I'm going to use this same color that I had used for 61 here. So if you want to change your color, go ahead. Either way, whatever you want to do. I think I'm going to join with this color, but I think when I do the whole side part, I'm thinking about using the darker green color. I think that's what I'm going to use for that. But what we're going to do is we're going to sandwich these together, and we're going to try to get them to be as close as we can stitch by stitch. We don't want to be left with one really long at the end and one really short, okay? So we're going to try to keep it together. If you want to clamp it or something, that's always an idea. So we're just going to single crochet across. So I'm going to grab the first stitch, and I'm going to grab the very beginning here. And if you want to get that tail in there, that's okay. And we're just going to single crochet. All right, I'm going to grab the next stitch, and I'm going to go in. You can go in the space if you want to, whatever works for you to be able to grab on that other side. If you go in the space like I just did there, I think you would want maybe 2 in a space or so, just like I said, because we're trying to get this to be even, okay? So now I'm going along here. I'm trying to hold that tail in. There's so much going on. It's all good. I'm going in the next stitch so that I'm trying to find something that's equally distant here. I'm going to go about right there. And I am just single crocheting. So I'm just going to yarn over, pull it through, yarn over and pull through 2. And I'm going to do this the whole way down until I get everybody all together here. But I want to do just a little bit to show you, to see how it's going. So like this stitch, I think I'm going to go back in that space again. So I'm hoping you can see this okay. So I've got a stitch on this side, but the other side, that was our foundation. So I'm going to stop after this one right here. I'll just pull this up for a second to show you. So this is what we've got going on, but when we turn it, I think it looks nice and neat. So I'm hoping this will be okay. It will be a seam. You can always put your bow in this area if you don't like how your seam is looking. So this is what it looks like on the other side. I think it looks good. I think it looks nice and neat. Of course, this tail won't be sticking in the way and everything, but I do think it looks nice and neat if you keep your stitches consistent, like you're putting them in the same spaces every time. So if you're doing this one and you're doing it kind of in that first cluster there, your little cluster, and then this one would be in a cluster right next to it. And then I had 2 in the chain space there, in that little space between the cluster. So there's 1, and then the next stitch in that space again. So I think if you keep it the same once you get going on your little rhythm there, of how you have it. So just kind of keep going along, grabbing both sides, making sure that they are meeting up as close as you can. I know it's not easy because they're not the same kind of stitches. They're not both, single crochets there. a single crochet on one side, but not, well, a stitch I should say, on one side, and then we have a foundation chain on the other. So keep going with this until you get to the end. Take your time and just line it up, okay? And if you get a little bit and it's not working out, just pull it out and just start it over again. We've had to do that before, right? All right, here we go. Okay, when you get to the end, right there, at your very end, where you're going to fasten off here, but I'm going to give it 2, right? And see how we have this little chain space at the end, right here, right? We had a chain 3, and we had a chain 3 on the other side. I'm going to give it just 1 more stitch in that area, just to hold it over there. Okay. And that's just preference. You don't have to. I just wanted the ends to be together well. So you just work it up so that it all stays together. Okay, so I made a little knot, pulled that off, yet another tail. So decide, do you want this to be your inside or your outside? Because your project is the same on both sides. So I was going to make this my outside. Okay, so I'm turning it inside out. Turning it inside out. There we go. Okay, so now we need to get this all set up. Wow, this is a lot of tails going on. We need to get this all set up to fit on our foam wreath. And I'm going to try my very best to keep this in screen, to keep us working together here, and not make it all squirrely. But I'm going to fit this onto my wreath. Okay, so take a look, make sure your project is fitting on your wreath good. And I'm going to turn it so that the seam is facing up. I'm moving everything here. The seam is facing upward like this. So as we're going along, it'll be a lot easier to work on than if it were like in the inside of our circle. Just kind of turn everything. You might have to manipulate it a little bit while we're working on it. Okay, so I have this beautiful carry along of yarn, and I have places where I cut it off because, you know, things didn't end on the same side because I was making this beautiful pattern that I love, but I have to get that all tucked in. So we're gonna work on that. Okay, grab the yarn color that you want to make your seam out of for your project here. So whatever color maybe you used more of, or that you like the best, whatever your qualifications are for your seam. Grab that yarn and the same hook, that same 3.5 millimeter crochet hook is what we need. So we want to get our yarn up on our hook. So we're going to make a loop, right? And make our loop and drop our working tail behind and pull this up on the shank of our hook. Okay, that gets us on our hook. So as we are going along, we are going to single crochet these together. But what we want to make sure of is, for example, this is my dark green right here, right? So as I'm stitching, I want to stitch dark green to dark green. And then I'm going to be tucking in a lot as I'm going along. And then I want to stitch this limeade color to limeade, right? And then I have this one little row of the sage. So as I'm going along, I need to make sure that row for row is matching each other. You don't want it to be all wiggly and not even. So let's just get started here. I'm going to join right here in this space. So I'm going to enter it, I'm going to yarn over and pull through. And I'm going to pull through for a slip stitch right there. Okay, so there I am. I'm joined into our work. I've got yet another tail, and I'm going to tuck that in there. Okay, and if later on, if you don't get every single tail, it's okay. We can always tuck people in, little tail people here. Tuck them in at the end, but try your best to get them in as much as you can while you're working. It will save you a lot of time. So we want to single crochet along here. So I'm going to grab both sides. So just like when we were making the short seam, we're going to just go along, lining everybody up on both sides, making the big seam. And I know it's going to take a little bit depending on the size of your wreath form, but just take your time. You can do this. It's going to be beautiful by the time you are done. I know it will be. So just take your time lining everybody up. So see, I had the dark green to the dark green, okay? Now I'm moving on. Here's my limeade color. I can see it. I'm gonna try and tuck in these tails. And I'm gonna go in the space. And oh, here it is, the space. All right. So, and again, if you're working in spaces, if you feel like, well, I think I need more than one in there, go ahead and do that. But as you're going along with this, I want you to just check it. Every once in a while, just stop and take a look and see what you've got going on. Especially if you, like this one, it's just one row here. It was one row of that sage color, and I'm hoping I am in screen because this is bulky and kind of crazy here. So I'm gonna give this one 2 here just to secure it. And then I'm gonna go on to that little, I think it was called like Sea Spray or something. It was a pretty name. That was that Vanna's Choice. And I like that yarn, but boy, did it keep splitting on me. It was driving me a little crazy. Okay, so now I'm on this one. Here's the space. That seems good, and I'm gonna go into this part of it because it's not really stitches, is it? It's just kind of all little spaces we're finding here. Okay, I'm gonna put 2 there. And I'm gonna stop because I wanna show it to you before I let you keep going. Okay, so this is what I'm looking like. I'm hoping yours looks the same, but what I'm trying to explain is that I've got my sides together. So each color is with each color, and that will make it look nice and neat. I like that it's a little loose like this, okay? And it gives you room to, if you have covered your wreath, this gave you a little bit of extra room too. But I think this is good because once you put your bow on and you attach everything, it's kind of all pulls itself together. It gives you room to work with. So I'm hoping you're good with that too. So we're gonna keep going along with this nice seam like this, holding everybody together and keeping our colors together, okay? Just like that, all the way around your wreath until you get back to your beginning, okay? So I'm hoping you can see all that easily. It's kind of big, like I can't seem to move the camera further away from it here. So keep going along and get all these single crochets done. Take your time. Check your spacing. Don't do a ton and then be like, oh wait, I haven't looked at it. Keep looking at it, okay? Because you'll thank yourself later if you come across something that just isn't sitting right, okay? Or doesn't look good. All right, just take your time. Keep going, and I will meet you at the end, and I'll show you. We'll join up, and then we'll work on decorating it a little bit. Okay, here we go. Okay, when you get to the end, and if you're not there, just take your time. Don't worry, don't feel rushed. I just want you to go into the first single crochet and join with a slip stitch. That's all. Just when you get back around, okay? So whenever you get there, we're just gonna give that a nice little slip stitch, and then we can fasten off here, okay? And we're gonna tuck in that tail also. But I was able to get all my tails, everybody's all squished up here, all my tails tucked in as I was going along single crocheting this. So hopefully you're able to get almost everybody in there. And if you can see a couple through, it's okay because it is the back of our work, right? Because when you turn it over, it should be really pretty. I love these colors. I like all the different greens. I think this was fun. Changing it up like this and not necessarily going like in the same stripiness. I don't know how to explain it. Like they're not all the same thickness. I like that it varies, and I think that makes it even more fun. So that is our wreath cover. Now you get to decorate it and be super creative, not just with your colors, but I got this ribbon. I think I'm going to use, it is a green. On the camera it kind of looks a little bluish, but it is a green. Well, I'm trying to see if it says what color it is on it. It does not. I wanted a gingham. I couldn't find a gingham, but I'm thinking about using this color for a wreath on here, or you could use white or yellow would be pretty too. But I like this because it's yet another shade of green. So I think I'm gonna make a ribbon with that. But you know, this is gonna be where y'all get creative, and I know that you're super creative people, so I'm just gonna throw out a couple suggestions and y'all go to town and do what you need to do. We did, when we made the shamrock hat, you could always put the shamrock hat on here as your decoration with it if you want. The little leprechaun hat, that is an idea. We made those little shamrocks. You could do a whole bunch of little shamrocks in maybe a different green than what you already have here. And I'm gonna put links, a link for this too. This was a while ago. We did a like a little bunting. It hangs on my fireplace, and it's all little clovers. That's an idea too. This is actually a nice shade of green, because it's different than what I've got going on here. You could do a whole bunch of these and put them on there. So there are so many options. You could even make a little sign that says Happy St. Patrick's Day. But I just want to give you a little bit of ideas. I know you'll come up with fun stuff. Let me know what you work out. If you come up with something really good, I want to know. Tell me. So yes, this was great. I enjoyed being on this journey with you. It's always so fun working up these with you and taking our time and just really getting to enjoy crocheting. So I will see you next time. Thank you and have a joyful day.